I'm Kayla Jarman with 10 Oaks Real Estate, and I'm here today with Jim Rudiger with Galaxy Property Inspections, and we are in partnership with Churchill Mortgage. And today we're going to talk about inspections. Jim, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
So when we as realtors bring you in on the buying process and the selling process of a home, all the realtors have their fingers crossed hoping everything goes well.
So when a home inspector shows up to the property, we're basically looking at the structure of the home. We're not here to address like how the home is decorated and the furnishings and that kind of thing.
Things we like.
Things you like. We're here to look at the roof and the exterior of the home. We're here to look at the electrical system, the plumbing system, the floor structure, the ceiling structure, the HVAC, all of the things that basically make up the bones, the meat and bones of the house. All right, to make sure that there aren't any major problems, that when the buyer takes ownership of the house, that they're not going to be stuck with any major problems that were left over. And sometimes those problems are unknown to the seller, which is why it's always good for a seller to get an inspection before they put the house on the market, so that they know what are the problems that that are there, and can they be addressed before a buyer comes along and that whole negotiating process starts.
So let's just talk about that for a second, because that's not something that you see every day.
So a seller, before you put your house on the market, you see your house from your perspective, but you don't see it from a home inspector's perspective. And the seller probably doesn't get up in the roof and look around in the attic very often, or crawl around the crawl space. And I'm going to see things that the seller is not going to see. And I've seen many a times where the seller, if they had done a home inspection beforehand, $300, $400, $500 worth of repairs equates to $5,000 at the negotiating table. And so if you can spend a little money up front, you can actually make more money when you sell your house, right? And for the buyer, they want to make sure they're not walking into a money pit.
Right.
So they want to make sure they hire an inspector to take a look at all the systems of the house and the structure of the house to make sure that everything is just working normally. There's always going to be defects. There's always going to be deficiencies. There's no such thing as a perfect house. Even if it's brand new construction, there's no such thing as a perfect house. So some deficiencies are just common, wear and tear. But if it's something like a cracked truss in the roof system, or broken HVAC system, or problems under the house, those are problems that want to be addressed before the buyer takes ownership of the house.
Right. And so typically what you prefer, and I think it's a great idea as well, for the realtor to stay during the inspection.
I always recommend that whoever the client is, whether it's the seller or the buyer, and their agent stays and is present for the entire home inspection. Now, there are a lot of home inspection companies where the home inspector doesn't want anybody around. They just want to do their thing. I'm not like that. I think that if you're buying a house and you're going to spend, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on a house, you should know about that house, and you should be able to ask questions of a professional and learn about the property during the inspection. So my advice to everybody, when you hire a home inspector, be involved in that process. You don't have to be looking over his shoulder the whole time. Let him do his job. But if he finds something, he can say, hey, let me show you this while you're here. That way, when you get the inspection report, you know what's on there, everything has been explained, and there are no red flags that will make somebody scream and run away from the transaction.
Thanks for all the information. It's been great.
My pleasure.